really, I don't think he understands what the message is. The message from Jean Talon is stop saying something to get our votes and do the exact opposite. Stop making public policies on the corner of a table in a few seconds, because you can't have projects worth $10 billion just because of a by-election. It just doesn't make any sense. Don't do that.
That is a little snippet of my conversation with PQ leader Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon a little earlier this afternoon. And from what I understand, David HEURTEL was listening. He is, of course, a former Quebec Liberal leader, that would be fun, Liberal leader. Everyone's saying you should be Liberal leader. You're a former Liberal cabinet minister, counsel at Fasken, and our beloved political analyst. that was a Freudian slip.
Friday slip.
I'll say. Wishful thinking for a lot of people, I think, David.
Very nice. Nice.
I understand you heard that interview, and
I did.
There were a few little, giggles, funny little moments. And I wonder if that's what you meant by the dark side, or what did you mean by that?
Well, I mean, great job as always, Natasha. It was a very interesting interview. And you saw during that interview why Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has been so successful since he became PQ leader. Very charming, very eloquent, calm,
present,
humor, and very intelligent. He's a smart guy, and he was very clear on why, and that clip really says it all, on why the PQ did so well in Jean Talon on Monday, is that because François Legault was completely dropped it, and when voters in Jean Talon looked at their choices to send a message of anger to the government, the only real option was Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, because, I mean, the Liberals are a clown show. You're not going to go to the extremes, which are represented on the right by Éric Duhem and on the left by Guillaume Nadeau-Dubois and Quebec Solidaire. So he is the only decent option. But what I meant by the dark side in my comments, Natasha, is that at the same time, what he didn't say, and what he didn't say at all in Jean Talon during the campaign, was the word independent.
Yes, I did ask him about that.
You did. No, but during the entire campaign in Jean Talon,
that's the dirty word.
Yeah, that's it. So he never. And I really liked your question about the year one budget, le budget de l'an 1, which it was supposed to come out before the 22 campaign, but it said no. Then it was right after the 22 campaign. No, we have to deal with the oath with the king. And then it was supposed to be in the spring. Well, no, we have too much to do in the National Assembly. And now you got a very eloquent answer saying, well, we would have only talked about that during the campaign. And yet again, so the budget, the année 1 budget, has been postponed now 4 or 5 times since Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has been leader. So when the wheels usually come off with the PQ when they start talking about this, but also Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon was very, he has a great English. You know why, Natasha?
Because
he
went to
learned
Oxford.
his English at McGill.
and Oxford, right? Didn't he go to Oxford?
But first at this little Montreal institution called McGill University, then Oxford. So and also where it gets more serious for me is when I can't wait to hear Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon after grilling, and rightly so, Pierre Fitzgibbon on ethics, his star MNA, Pascal Bérubé of Matin Matapédia, is now under investigation for ethics violations during the Jean Talon by-election campaign. And the same Pascal Bérubé last week, and you and Aaron covered this, the big immigration numbers across Canada that came out last week. Well, the response to this increase, this very important increase in immigrants across the country, and also in Quebec at a lesser pace than the rest of the country, but still there is an increase in Quebec. Pascal Bérubé of the Parti Québécois, which is led by the same Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, held a press conference in Quebec City and said that this immigration contributes to the minorization of Quebecers. This is dangerous talk here, Natasha. This is about saying that immigrants are not part of the Quebec nation and can never be part of the Quebec nation. Either you're white, francophone and from the souche catholique, or you're outside, you're against, you're a problem. And this is a dangerous slope. And Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has been going for this same thing on trans issues. He says that positions respecting trans rights are a slippery slope towards radicalism. He said that, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon did. So when I say there is a dark side, he's very eloquent, he's got a great style, and he can maneuver, he can give a good interview. But I'm just saying, hold on. The Parti Québécois has slipped towards the right and is dangerous in many ways, much more than just independence.
I'll tell you, as you were describing that, I was remembering a million years ago, before the 95 referendum, I remember going to hear Lucien Bouchard speak. And I remember thinking, I don't agree with a single word that is coming out of this man's mouth. And yet he's so persuasive in the way that he delivers it that you feel yourself going along with it. You're right that Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has that same pull. That's kind of scary.
He really does. No, it is scary. And Lucien Bouchard next to Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon seems like a left-wing nut.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, but it's very interesting to see that the Parti Québécois under Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon has moved dangerously to the right. But he seems like a moderate, because when you look at either the Liberals or Éric Duhem or Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois, he seems the sanest one around. And that explains in large part why the Parti Québécois has risen as the second option in every poll.
So you refer to the Liberals here as a clown show. I was thinking that was Quebec Solidaire with the little blue balloon in the National Assembly the other day. But are we talking here about the harassment accusations?
Let me start by saying any kind of harassment has to be taken seriously. And if there is a complaint, and there is a complaint in this case at the National Assembly, and there is a process, and there must be a serious investigation. And if there is harassment that took place, there has to be consequences. But that said, the process is supposed to be confidential. So how come this complaint is being leaked to a Journal de Québec? Because the story was first reported in the Journal de Québec to Geneviève Lajoie, who is a National Assembly Hill reporter. And so you're kind of asking questions. Fred Beauchemin, who nobody had heard about a month ago, starts being pushed by people, and the people who are pushing Fred Beauchemin's candidacy are the same people that brought you Dominique Anglade. And now he's making the rounds, he's calling journalists, he's calling commentators, you had him on, and all of a sudden there's this reaction. The week after he does his media tour, Mara Risky does her media tour. She goes on your show. She does the French media. There are commentators, both French and English, that start saying how great she is and that she should run. And the fact is that there is a real reaction to Fred Beauchemin's candidacy. And again, I don't believe in coincidences, Natasha. That if there was harassment by his staff or himself, he's going to have to pay the consequences. But when you're talking about a confidential process that is being leaked right now, you can only imagine that something's going on. And the other piece, which was less reported on today, Natasha, but this morning, I don't know if you saw this piece, there was an op-ed in La Presse Plus signed by Michael Fortier, who we all know. He was a former Harper minister. He was a senator. He's an executive at RBC. And he writes regularly in La Presse Plus as one of their op-ed contributors. Today's piece was about attacking the oppositions in Quebec City for not standing up against the CAQ's economic policies, which is all well and good, but who is the economic critic of the Liberal Party of Quebec? Fred Beauchemin. And who is Michael Fortier married to? Michelle Setlakwe, Liberal M&A for Matt Royal. So what's going on here? What is he doing writing an opinion piece at this particular time, criticizing oppositions on the way they're not criticizing enough the CAQ's economic policy.
I love when you give us the inside scoop like that. Oh, David.
No, but there's a lot more going on here. Like, for example, there's a big internal battle that Marc Tanguay is not keeping under wraps. I think he's completely lost control of everything.
No, I agree.
And there's really, he should step aside.
I agree. I agree. Listen,
I know you're running out of time, but I'd love to continue this conversation.
Me
because
too.
There are other elements behind this about everything that's going on, but there's really, like James Money has said, if nothing is done soon, there won't be.
No,
it's
you're right.
like they're
It'll
fighting
burn to the ground.
they're fighting over how to rearrange the chairs on the Titanic. And it's like, hold on a second. You got to come together, everybody. And after that, you can squabble about who does what. But right now, this internal squabbling, this infighting, is just destroying a once great and powerful and positive Quebec institution.
What a shame. What a shame. Thank you so much, David. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.
Joyeuse Action de Grâce.
Action de Grâce. Yeah, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Thanks, David.